What did we learn? What did we learn in Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Demons gotta die, and, well, Buffy kills them. Or what? Well, that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. What do I do with vampires? Well, I avoid them like the plague, because as a human being, and that's what I am, I have been vamped. Right here in Thunder Bay by members of my family. In person and over the phone. Vamped, like steal all my chi. Well, I don't know how else you would explain it. People that don't believe in chi, well, whatever you consider your own personal feeling of health, if you were in a video game, one of those fighting games where you have health that goes up and down, what would you consider that for yourself? Like, if you do you ever get sick? Are you always in your own, well, since you've been doing your whatever you work on yourself, have you never felt like down? It's just like a day I'm tired, or just this afternoon I'm dragging my out. Maybe you don't. Maybe that's what you get. I don't know, but if you do run down on your health meter, so I don't know where were we going with all this. I don't know. You can go back and. Okay, next thing. Well, I don't know why. Why Buffy? Well, without Buffy, then you have supernatural, demonic, and no one to protect the Muggles. Anyways, um, Port Arthur Nationals baseball. Well, Port Arthur is the former name of the northern part of Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. Well, we still have a lovely, amazingly, a most beautiful, small ballpark. Minor league baseball. I don't know. Is it? I hate to tell you. I don't want to even say, because I know they have the different A system. I don't know what they are. Thunder Bay Border Cats, and they play in the summertime. But it's not the Port Arthur Nationals. I don't know. Maybe this is a minor league team. Minor league, beer league team, maybe. Doesn't sound beer league. Port Arthur Nationals would be. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about I don't know. When you take Brent Beeson, B-E, Sin, S-I-N. Sin as in being the Antichrist. Well, he takes quite pride in being that guy. I don't know. Well, it's just that, he was given, I don't know, everyone, I don't know. The story of Beeson Brothers, trademark, because it's trademarked. Beeson Brothers, B-R-O-S. Well, one thing, because in a capitalist economy, I don't want you all stealing it. Because I got to hold it for Brent Beeson, the devil. Because he's not here. So it has to go in my name. Trademark me. Okay, so Beeson Brothers has got a whole bunch of lines of stuff to deal with the demonic. And Beeson Brothers baseballs are something that we do for fun. We take a demon and we put the demon into the baseball. Standard looking baseball, but we put a demon in there. And then we play baseball with the demon. And every time somebody gets up to bat, they get to smack the demon. Now the question is, there's different kinds of demons with different powers. And if you put a demon in there who's got supernatural powers, then you're going to have a very interesting baseball game. Because maybe he's going to be able, he or she or it or whatever it is that's in there, if they can supernaturally move the baseball around, maybe they're going to try and fly the baseball right out of the ballpark and take off. I don't know. But anyways, the idea is, just, I don't know, any time that you felt in the past that you didn't have closure on issues because you had horrible criminal activity against you, bullying, whatever it is, where you felt like you never had the equalizer. That was the guy. There's a TV show, The Equalizer, and that was his job. In the TV show on Netflix, Longmire, Lou Diamond Phillips plays the character Hector. Hector, he does Buffy the Vampire Slayer's job. More or less. More or less, yep. Well, it's just that I don't know. I don't know. You just have to watch that show. Because I gave you a good hook. Because it's quite a story. The story of Hector. The story of Hector in Longmire is the story of if there's a switch for humans. Low self and high self. Hector, as portrayed by Lou Diamond Phillips in the movie. You fucked up. I fucked up. Why? Because it's just horrible. Sorry. Okay, what else could it be? Well, anyways, the high self of someone could do possibly the Hector job. The low self of Hector would be Hector Dougal of Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. Two Hectors. So if you've got a switch, low self, high self, those are examples. So, the best thing to always say to people is be your best self. And your best self is your high self. Your low self is a devil. And David R. Hawkins of Consciousness Research told us that your ego will kill you. Your ego will kill you. Exact words, David R. Hawkins, Consciousness Research. So, egoic people are criminals and terrorists. 150 on the scale of human consciousness is Satan. And Satan will torture you and kill you. And that's what the scale of human consciousness tells you. So, it doesn't sound, I don't know, maybe you're not interested in that stuff, but if you want to learn more, David R. Hawkins is the teacher, and he's all over YouTube. And his books, you can get the usual places. Okay, so what else about Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Well, no, my job is not to be a slayer. My job is to be a healer. So what about Brinson? Well, it just came up a long time ago. And Beeson Brothers Baseballs would have Brent Beeson in it, and Brent Beeson is an electronic devil. In other words, he's a human who's using a Dr. Evil machine, high-tech machine, to attack me. So he's a devil, but he's a human devil, and he has no superpowers. So when you put Brent Beeson, his real name, remember the Unabomber was his phony baloney name that he used all the time, but his real name came out later after they caught him, Ted Kaczynski. So Brent Beeson is equivalent to a Unabomber, just a made-up name. But attached to Brent Beeson, we do expect that there is a human being or multiple human beings who are, character actors that are playing these demons through remote neural monitoring, high-tech Dr. Evil computer systems and broadcast systems, and God only knows what else is in there. A lot of research, because there's a lot of people. The Truman Show is an example of how that setup could work. And especially if you go on YouTube, look for Truman drowns, or they tried to drown Truman. Because then you see Ed Harris, who was presented to me as Brent Beeson the Devil. And if Ed Harris had a name, he could be one of the devils. Just one, because there's multiple Ed Harrises that fuck with me versus using remote neural monitoring. So Ed Harris could make up any kind of a phony baloney name, and then if you talk to Truman as the devil named whatever it is he makes up, then he becomes a permanent character through voice to skull to Jim Carrey as Truman. And that's what they do with remote neural monitoring, and it's very sophisticated, and it's way more than just the voice. So all those people that said they were hearing voices and you send to the psych ward and get psych bills, yeah, no, it was electronic harassment the whole time. Because it goes way back. And I said more minimum earbug. If you had earbug, then radio blared into your head, and everybody said, no one says anything other than your mind is playing tricks on you. Well, it wasn't your mind, it was some evil fucking person using this high-tech stuff that was clearly around from the time I was a kid. So in the 1970s, we had earbug. So I don't know, this high-tech stuff might have been invented in World War II, or it might be ancient, from before ancient Greece back to times of ancient Atlantis, because Atlantis was a high-tech society. So we had previous high-tech societies according to these stories. And then enormous planetary catastrophe, the sinking of Atlantis, and also a similar advanced civilization called Mu, M-U. And what do we know about Mu? Well, we're going to play a Rumpelstiltskin game, because we're not going to use the dictionary. We're going to go music. Mu, ancient times of Atlantis, a competing civilization perhaps. Very high-tech, as high-tech as ours, yes. Mu. Music. Music. Mu, that ancient high-tech civilization, and sick, S-I-C. Now, everybody took high school, so you all remember SIC. Maybe you didn't get it, but SIC is, we think it's Latin, and you put it in written text if you intentionally misspell a word, and that lets the reader know. If you put sick after you misspelled the word, it means you intentionally spelled the word that way, and you let the reader know that it wasn't just a typological spelling error or a typo. It was intentionally that we spelled this thing wrong for you. So, music. Well, we thought somehow that it meant that when you listen to music, it brings you into the consciousness of mu. And music. Music, S-I-C-K, means it makes you sick. Je suis malade. J'ai mal à la tête. Mal in French means bad. Malade means I feel sick. Music. You listen to music because it makes you feel good. You can sing along. But you get all kinds of messages from the music, and usually they're, I don't know, Enter Sandman. I don't know, a billion different kinds of ways you can look at it. A beat song like Billy Joel and Honesty. We hear all these songs, and we're conditioned by them to just consider them musical art, and they're like bubblegum. You know, it plays and you enjoy it, and then you spit out the bubblegum, and the next song comes and you have more bubblegum. Does it hypnotize you? Music, does it hypnotize you? Well, it does change your mood. Change your mood. I don't know, because we learned about subliminal advertising in Psychology 101 at universities and probably colleges. And we learned from David R. Hawkins of consciousness research that certain kinds of, well, he said rap music, He calls it a very low vibe on the scale of human consciousness. And well, a lot of that stuff, it's about, smack my bitch up. I mean, the song has got all the sound effects and wee, smack my bitch. But you don't think of it as anything other than what? Well, it's just art, and it's thug life, and it's just art actors portraying. It's not real. I don't know. I don't know. Are you sure that they're not really encouraging people to join the demonic team and go around murdering women? Smack my bitch up. I don't know, because if you listen to Smack My Bitch Up and you're wearing Every Child Matters, then you seem to have, well, I know, because I enjoy that kind of music too. But subliminally, are we being conditioned or hypnotized over long periods of time into saying that Smack My Bitch Up is an appropriate thing? I mean, you could do the same song. I don't know, because we're glorifying thug life. And we don't, I don't know, I don't know. It gives you, I don't know. It just seems to me, if you really, really are like, getting into smack my bitch, I can get that bitch, she fucked me over. I don't know, she didn't put out for me or whatever. She's just a pain in the ass or whatever. Is your heart thoroughly in? We're in a damaged society. And we talk about all these traumas and things. Well, don't look at me like I'm, just some, whatever white guy. Because I might be a white guy, but I am a minority because I'm a gay man. And I grew up in Thunder Bay when it was exceptionally homophobic. And I couldn't come out. I didn't come out until I was 42 years of age. So, I've been through all kinds of hell, and I've been through HIV hell too. So, unless you've been through shit like me, really. So sit back before you accuse me of anything, because I know I get it all the time. Who the fuck are you to tell me anything? Well, it's just me sharing my life story. I drank too. Was an alcoholic? Yes. I don't drink now. I know my body just rejected booze. Just like, no more boozing. Just barfing, and that's it. And then I can't drink it anymore. Body just rejects it. Well, I can imagine maybe I could have a beer. Maybe have a beer. I never know. But because I bought beer last summer, and I, had 2 sips. The first sip tasted good and went down good. Second sip. But there's been times when, I was at the Westford and singing karaoke, and I'd have a beer, or maybe I could have 2 or 3 beer, but, if I ever got too many, because there was a time at the Westford where I was, drinking the same way as everybody that was drinking there. So, no AA, no. But me doing intense spiritual work for a long time, yes. And in the end, Phil, that's how it turned out. I don't know. I don't want to tell you anything other than, have I used racial slurs? Absolutely, yes. Well, we were trained in Thunder Bay to use racial slurs. We learned them all. We did. And, really, are you going to tell me, if you're my age, 57, that you weren't in Inner City Mall when we had the It store there? And a huge wall of, Pollock jokes or any kind of thing. Like, they did have all that stuff. So, there's no buried under the table. Because we were kids. We're at the It store. And what do they also have? Well, they had gift cards. And you open them up, and there's like, well, I was gay, and there was like some guy with a big dong there. It's like, whoa, where else are you gonna find? Because it was wide open. Well, modern day people don't seem to care about it at all. But in those days, we had blue laws in Ontario that said you couldn't open your grocery store on Sundays. No Sunday shopping, and when they finally opened up, it was a big to-do. So I don't know, whatever you want to call it, there was definitely enforced religiosity on Canada in those days. And we still have the Liquor Control Board of Ontario as the government liquor board that was originally set up to stop people from drinking, restrict access. And now it's become a marketing board for booze. So it's completely inverted. And it is true that over long periods of time, things that seem harmless, I don't know, if someone turns into hardcore alcoholic and gets cirrhosis of the liver, or, killed in drunk driving, or, get hit by a drunk driver, or just, any other horrible things that happen around booze. And because today I was walking downtown and there was a mom and her kid, and the kid's t-shirt said, "Stay calm and drink beer." But what does that say? That mom uses alcohol to deal with life. And so it's been passed down to the next generation, because once you start wearing the t-shirt, and then it's just, you see all the adults in your lifetime, welcome to Thunder Bay. Seriously, welcome to Thunder Bay. It's just a slippery slope, because it just normalizes use of alcohol, which is poison. Alcohol, pure alcohol, everybody knows that you can use it for disinfectant. So, we're drinking poison. And in the USA, if you buy any bottle of alcohol in the liquor store, at least in Minnesota, as far as I remember, I think it's a federal government U.S. law that it's got to have the warning on there. Don't drink this if you're pregnant. So they do acknowledge. And in LCBO in Ontario, the liquor bottles have 0 warning labels, even though they go incredibly overboard with cigarettes. Warning, so that's what the name of your cigarette. In the olden days, we had, a marker, and it looked like, something elegant. But the packaging is all this garbage. And then, seriously, look at this, what this warning here is about. Risk of blindness. Well, what the hell are they doing here? I don't know. It looks to me like they're injecting a needle of some goop into someone's forced open eye. What the fuck has that got to do with cancer? That is torture, and somehow just mutilating someone's eye. What has that got to do with cigarette smoking? Nothing. But, it's still, it's your Health Canada warning. So... Well, why do I smoke cigarettes? I'll tell you why. Well, sometimes, when I live in Vancouver, maybe I was on the patio at the Odyssey, that's the gay bar there, and, it's a smoking area, and somebody gave me a cigarette, I'm going to smoke a cigarette. But in those days, I don't remember buying a package of cigarettes the whole time I lived in Vancouver. But, if they were available and someone offered one, I'd probably smoke it. But, it's just that it's a substitute. In those days, for me, probably more when I moved back to Thunder Bay, like 15 years ago, a substitute for weed, because weed is freely available in Vancouver through dispensaries, and was back in the days when I lived there. And, well, I smoked it. And coming to Thunder Bay, we didn't have dispensaries, or if they were impossibly, I don't know, whatever it was. So, I don't know, if I didn't have weed, I would substitute cigarette. Did it work? No. What else? Well, somewhere along the way, we were told that the traditional people use tobacco. Spiritually. So it's just the power of intention. What do you intend because it's a permanent thing with me. It's a permanent thing. The tobacco is a sacred plant, a spirit, I don't know, whatever, yes. Yes. Let's just say yes. A spirit? Yes. Spirit ally? Yes. Cannabis? Yes. Alcohol? No. Somewhere on the internet you can look it up. Alkhul, Alkhul, demon spirit. And we're told that hard alcohol is known as spirits. So you put a bunch of demonic alcohol spirits into a bottle of booze, and you call it spirits, and there are demonic spirits in them. And perhaps that's why people seem to be possessed when they have booze. And complete Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of personalities. Well, it's just again and again and again. What are we talking about here? And booze. Well, I hear all those public service announcements on Thunder Bay Radio about the dangers of... There's no dangers that they're talking about with cannabis. It's simply morality play. It's just, it's just the new morality is, yes, we'll let you buy cannabis, but don't use it. Because we're going to be Big Brother and tell you it's bad. Because it's just like booze. It makes you incapacitated, is what they try and tell you. Anyway, people know. So you know your own experiences with it, and whatever you're going to tell yourself, whatever stories you're going to tell me. But I'm going to say that's all bullshit to me. Anyways, moving on. So we'll sacred use of what? 5D Earth, fifth dimensional Earth. And the song is The Age of Aquarius by the Fifth Dimension. That's an attack on my throat chakra. That's not tobacco. People attack my throat chakra so I can't talk and can't breathe. They do. Demonic attack. Anyways, whatever I was talking about with tobacco right there. I don't know. Was there more? Maybe it'll come back later. So with power of intention, you set the intention for whatever it is that you want, don't you? Or do you have flippy floppy? Sometimes it means this, sometimes it doesn't mean anything. I don't know. Do you have a firm? Do you stand for something? Or maybe I'll say something if I need to nod and be virtue signaling in that case. But, if you have the intention to raise your consciousness, and in your raised consciousness, you still have an intention to consider, well, then every time you have a smoke, it's a sacred smoke. At least for me. Why? Well, just because when I let go of control of the body, and you can do the snooze bar technique that you can find there pinned to the top of Jesus Jones in the About section, you can raise your consciousness very quickly, and then you connect with your soul, which is your God self, your best self, if you got one. Some people in certain lifetimes may never have developed a soul, something that travels from lifetime to lifetime. David R. Hawkins said, if you are under 200 on the scale of human consciousness, you don't have anything to carry with you. I don't know exactly. No, I don't know, because it's very difficult to try and put it all together. Because he starts talking about the etheric brain, a non-physical brain develops when you reach 200 on the scale, when you're moving up from the bottom to 200. If you're at 200, then you develop the non-physical etheric brain, which changes the way the physical brain works. So it's less fight or flight, and more time to think about what you want to do in a certain situation, rather than immediately, reactively go, like a reptile. So that's physiology, and he is a medical doctor, and I don't know, spiritual teacher, David R. Hawkins. And don't forget that, his bio says that he co-wrote the textbook, Orthomolecular Biology. Doesn't that sound like advanced? Orthomolecular Biology with Linus Pauling, who won 2 Nobel Prizes. Nobel, those famous prizes that they used to always announce. I don't know if they do anymore, but a yearly prize to best scientist. So, best scientist 2 times over, Linus Pauling co-wrote this book with David R. Hawkins, and David R. Hawkins on his own gave us a whole series of modern day manuals for how to raise your consciousness on the scale of human consciousness. So that's where I would ask you to go, and don't forget that, the whole point about spiritual education is that we're in purgatory. Everybody here. And to get out of purgatory, you got to have to get your consciousness up to 540, at least, and keep going. Because in order to get to a different world or another lifetime, another human lifetime, I don't know, you got to raise your consciousness now. And David R. Hawkins, at the beginning of every one of his books, said, waste no time. Because that is the primary reason, that is the only reason that you're here. I don't know. It's definitely one of the reasons why you can't access celestial worlds or heavenly worlds. Because your frequency... Okay, so it's about, this is what's this supposed to say? Oh, this is about me playing baseball with Brett Busen, the devil, put into a baseball. And then, Ty Cobb, the famous baseball player, as I already said, he wants to be one of the first people to smack Brett Busen when he's inside a baseball. So he really comes to a full and complete understanding of how much people want to hit that demon and punish him that way. So Hertz is frequency, and in spirituality, the scale of human consciousness is your frequency. And I already told you in another video today that Wayne Gretzky, when he was on the ice and he won the Conn Smythe Trophy for best player in the NHL, the Stanley Cup, etc., demonic attack is always on me. Oh, okay. Oh, this is another question that just came up, and the question is, whose hands are these? Bobby Burrows. Well, whose hands are these really? When you raise your consciousness, you surrender your personal control over the body. So these are the body's hands. And, when did these become God's hands? By intention of the people that are here. So my intention is to be of service to God. So, So people say, well, with due consideration, I do want to take your advice because I'm going to follow my Creator's plan. Well, your Creator put me out of the blue into your life to give you spiritual advice. In the case of my Earth Father, I gave him a DVD of the Celestine Prophecy movie. Those were God's hands, because it was a meme. It was a meme I saw somewhere that said, human hands are God's hands when you're doing God's work. So unless you expect God to do a miracle and, drop a manifest, I don't know, just out of thin air, it just drops onto your floor, a copy of the DVD of the Celestine Prophecy, then you're demanding miracles from God. And that's an egotistical motherfucker that does that, Dawn. Fuckface. Because, Dawn, you're a fucking devil. You're just a piece of shit. Because you're just giving me excuses. You go fuck off, Dawn, because this is a person who is a gang stalker. I don't know, he's pretending to be a Jew, but he ain't. He's a devil. Because that's what gang stalkers do. They pretend to be somebody else, make fake profiles. And they want to ask me questions. Not paying me for spiritual advice. So instead of taking advantage of what I'm giving and using it to raise your consciousness and improve your character, people like Dawn are just being fuck-faced. And this is not a comedy act. It's not. This channel is not a comedy act where you can be a heckler. If you're going to be a devil, when I'm talking about raising your consciousness so you can get out, a probationary planet, it's not probation. You're not on probation here. Because that's what the devils keep saying, probation. It ain't. It's purgatory. So you got to go to the Roman Catholic priest, and they're all about gluttony and the 7 deadly sins and the venial sins, which are, I'm not Roman Catholic. Or you can just go on the internet and go look it up. I don't know. Watch that horror movie, 7. It's about the 7 deadly sins. The horror movie, lots of blood and guts. Maybe you like that one, Don. Anyways,
I'm going to tell you again and again, Don, this is a human world. And if you're demanding miracles from God in order to get you to change, then you are what? You are not open to the world as it is, a human world. So you're just what are you? You're a fucking garbage piece of fucking shit to be on my channel and be pretending to be something you're not, gang stalker. So I'm going to tell you this fucking guy here, because he's right here. He's right here in my field. He's a vicious, violent shit piercer. Because that's the way they come. And what's going to happen to Don? Well, I don't know. Because he's known to spirit as a fucking devil. So, what does that mean with this? Well, my inner child is being tortured by these fucking gang stalkers? Yes. Because everyone has an inner child, and I do too. So, you're fucking devils. Just fucking devils. So, what is it? At what point are people going to say, everyone's inner child matters too? I'll present that to you. Anyways, if you're not at 540 on the scale of human consciousness, then the only other place you can go is a shitty future, a shitty timeline for you. And the more devil you do, the worse your timeline is, because Justin Timberlake told you what comes around goes around.